Hey, morning. It's Celebration Friday, and I'm super, super excited to talk to you today. Um, I actually wanted to share that I had this like really crazy breakdown yesterday. I was just getting down on myself for a number of different things and just allowing like thing after thing to bother me. And this morning I woke up with a decision to shift my mindset and choose celebration to join all of you. And I thought about what that would look like, and I didn't really know. It didn't come to me right away. And then I was reminded by a memory that popped up on Facebook of me 9 years ago graduating from Boston University. And the photo of me was a handstand. Um, for those of you who don't know me very well, I was a gymnast growing up, and I began doing handstands as part of my travels around the world. And um, what I began to think about was back then, I celebrated with a handstand from graduating from Boston University, but I had no job. And I wasn't sure how I was going to move forward in my career. I had bought a one-way ticket to Washington, D.C. to intern for a senator here on the Senate Banking Committee, the chairman actually, and I didn't know if that would pan out. I didn't know if I was going to get a job, but my goal was to get a job. And I made this decision to come down here and intern and network while I was interning in order to find a job. And it was a stressful time for sure in some ways because I didn't know how it would happen or if it would definitely happen. But I knew that I had to come. There was something in my gut saying like I absolutely needed to do this in my life because I it was the path that was so clear to me that I felt something was right there, that something felt good, that something felt right. And I went for it. And now looking back on what that one decision has made me, how it has molded and shaped me, um, when I was doing that handstand, there's no way I would have known where I would have ended up. So remembering history, remembering where I came from, really helped me to be like, wow, I've come a very long way in 9 years. That was May 2008. So I invite you to think about where were you 9 or 10 years ago? Um, what were you up to? Where were you going? Were you even sure you were getting anywhere? Because that memory caused me to realize that it's time to celebrate that 9 years later, I have created a life that I really love. Um, maybe like, there are aspects of it that I'd still like to shift, right? No life is a perfect life, to say the least. And man, I'm really glad that perfection is not what I'm aiming for. But think of it this way, you don't know where you're going in another 9, 10 years, but you have come a very long way in where you came from. And you've learned a lot. And some of it was tough, and some of it was fun, and some of it was somewhere in between. But when you shift perspective away from what you don't have right now, which is what we tend to do, and say, wow, I really have a lot, that mindset, that celebration, that shift really supports us moving forward powerfully today because maybe there's no big decision like buying the airplane ticket to move to DC today. But all the little decisions are taking you to a big decision. All of those are taking you to a new shift in your life. And we don't know exactly where we're going. But man, we can trust that we are moving in that direction on our journey and that we're going to keep improving our lives and that we keep getting better. And you can see it even with the generations, from generation to generation. The things that people were trying to make sure to do, like our our grandparents or great grandparents, it depends on how young your family is when they have kids, but when they were growing up in the depression, their only goal was to survive and to have enough finances to be able to do so. And then the next generation, the baby boomer generation, they had a tendency to be in the same camp. Like they watched their parents struggle to follow up after the Great Depression, and their goal was financial security. And those baby boomers gave birth to millennials and Generation X. And Gen X and Gen Y are a lot more interested in, you know, finding joy in what they do. I keep hearing it over and over and over again from prospective clients. Like, I want to feel joy. I want to enjoy what I do. I want to be happy in what I'm doing. And that piece is interesting because a lot of people seem to think that that was a major shift in our generation, and it is. And like a baby boomer who was talking to her daughter the other day, I heard this conversation from her daughter, was saying, why are you so interested in having a job that you love? Like, why do you feel the need to like love your job? I didn't love my job. And it's because our generation can afford to be that way. So you can see even across the generations, like we've improved our lives to a point where many of us do not need to focus just on survival and want to and have gone beyond that to say, I don't want to just survive, I want to thrive, right? So there's a lot of that going on now too. And so I invite you to think about that, because that's a really powerful way to live. And it's something that a few generations ago couldn't have even thought about. So you can see that in your own history of your life, that you have experienced this great change over this time to keep improving your life. And you can see that generationally we do this too. So it's clearly happening. And the goal is to celebrate now where you're currently at and to get super excited about where you're headed. Because even if we don't know where we're headed exactly, it's going to be more amazing than we ever expected it to be 10 years down the line. So why not get excited that we're headed in that direction now, even though we won't know what that direction is, and know that it'll be okay. That's the power of this celebration today. So if you want to join me in doing a handstand, I'd love to see your handstand shots or whatever, or photos of anything else that is a celebratory move for you. I'm definitely going to do one. I'll share it with you later today. And it means so much to me to have gotten that handstand shot photo today, and to remember where I came from, and to remember that I celebrated 9 years ago being happy that I had completed Boston University's bachelor's program, undergraduate education. And now I realize, 9 years later, I have gone beyond my wildest expectation of what I could have possibly done when I moved to DC with that one white ticket. And I'm so grateful and so grounded in the fact that, wow, that's what I did. I had no idea. And so despite my breakdown yesterday, now I'm looking at it and saying, I can take this to a whole new level. I can be excited for my future in a way that yesterday I definitely was like, I'm not excited about anything. But today I realize I can be grounded in that excitement. And even on the days that are rough, and I had a lot of rough ones, especially at the beginning when I didn't have a job and just that internship, I was okay. And I made it. And it worked. And it was a great, great journey thus far. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the next era of my journey, the next decade, is going to bring. So I hope that inspires you as well to do the same. I'd love to hear your stories from you, either individually or in this Facebook group. It's a powerful day to remember where we're coming from. Remember where you graduated from just a few years ago, or maybe more than just a few years ago, and think about where you came from that point. It's a powerful, powerful way of looking at the world and being grateful for where we're at, just exactly where we're at. Bye.